There's something about Attack on Titan that keeps pulling us back. It's not just the blood-pumping action, the haunting soundtrack, or even the jaw-dropping animation. It's the layers, the secrets, the foreshadowing so subtle, it takes a second or third rewatch to notice. The world Hajime Isayama created isn't just a story. It's a riddle, a warning, a psychological thriller disguised as a shonen anime. And what if I told you that hidden behind every wall, every titan, and every sacrifice are facts so wild, they'll change how you see the series forever? Let's dive into 50 insane facts about Attack on Titan that will absolutely blow your mind. Remember when Eren said, "I'll kill them all, every last one of them"? That line isn't just an angry kid's outburst. It's the entire plot of Attack on Titan summarized in one line. But what makes this moment chilling is that this rage didn't come from nowhere. It came from the future. Because Eren saw what was coming. From the very first episode, the story tells you Eren is destined to become humanity's savior, and its destroyer. That line is the ghost of the rumbling long before we even knew it existed. Isayama took inspiration from bodybuilders, martial artists, and even UFC fighters to create the grotesque, yet functional designs of the Titans. The armored Titan was modeled after a real-life Japanese fighter named Yushin Okami. And the pure Titans? Their disturbing childlike grins and uncanny movements are based on Isayama's childhood fear of drunk people. He once said they moved in ways that felt wrong, almost inhuman. That unsettling feeling? It's built into every frame. The Curse of Ymir, 13 years. That's all a Titan shifter gets before death. This isn't just a mechanic, it's a metaphor. Every major character who gains Titan powers is living on borrowed time. From Eren to Armin, each carries the weight of a ticking death sentence. It creates constant urgency. It's the quiet countdown in every scene, the knowledge that no matter how powerful they become, the end is already written. Levi is famously 160 centimeters tall, that's just over 5 feet. Fans joke about it constantly, but there's a dark reason. Isayama confirmed that Levi's stunted growth was due to childhood malnutrition and stress. Born and raised in the underground, Levi's life was so harsh, he never had a chance to grow properly. His small stature isn't a design choice, it's a scar. Hajime Isayama teased the final panel of the manga years before the series ended. It showed a man holding a baby saying, "You're free." Fans speculated endlessly. Was it Eren? Grisha? Someone else? When the final chapter dropped, we learned the truth. It was Eren's reincarnation being cradled. That line, "You're free," ties directly to the series' deepest themes of fate, freedom, and the cost of choice. The reveal that the walls are made of colossal titans shocked everyone. But what's wild is that this concept is rooted in biblical imagery. Isayama was inspired by the idea of angels and giants forming boundaries between heaven and earth. The titans in the walls, they're literally the foundation of this society's false peace, like divine punishment frozen in stone. Yuki Kaji, the voice of Eren, reportedly broke down while recording Eren's final speeches. The emotional weight, the guilt, the madness, it all became too real. In interviews, Kaji said he had to mentally prepare like he was entering battle himself. That raw energy? It's not just acting, it's pain made audible. The red scarf Eren gives Mikasa isn't just a gesture, it's her anchor. Red is the color of life, blood, and memory. Throughout the series, Mikasa touches that scarf in moments of confusion, trauma, or love. In the final moments, when she removes it, it symbolizes her letting go. Of Eren, of her past, of the burden. The rumbling isn't just fantasy destruction, it mirrors real-world genocide and war crimes. Isayama was heavily inspired by World War II and the horrors of nationalism taken to extremes. Eren's actions, though framed as freedom, echo atrocities that have occurred throughout history. The uncomfortable truth? That sometimes the hero becomes the villain. Reiner Braun isn't just the traitor, he's the embodiment of guilt. A child soldier, brainwashed, used, broken. Reiner's multiple suicide attempts, his split personality, his haunting monologue, Why am I still alive? Make him one of the deepest, most human characters. He's not a villain. He's a victim of a broken world. Behind the cold, calculated persona of Annie Leonhardt lies a haunting truth. Her entire purpose was never her own. Trained from childhood to become a weapon for Marley, Annie was forced to suppress her emotions and morality in exchange for survival. But here's the mind-blowing twist. The only time she ever cried was after defeating Eren in Season 1. That wasn't joy, it was guilt, regret. That tear said more than any dialogue ever could. It was the moment we realized Annie wasn't just a villain. She was a victim of a world that trained children to kill. The colossal titan isn't just big, it's apocalyptic. But what many fans miss is that Isayama intentionally based its destructive power on the atomic bomb. The first time Bertholdt transforms in Trost, the shockwave annihilates the area like a nuclear blast, complete with a mushroom cloud. Isayama drew parallels between Titan transformations and real-world weapons of mass destruction to show how power in the wrong hands is devastating. This wasn't just fiction. It was a chilling echo of our own history. Let's talk about Zeke Yeager, the man who betrayed his own parents, only to later betray the very cause he supported. But here's the mind trip. Zeke's plan to euthanize all Eldians was rooted in mercy. He wasn't evil. He believed the only way to end the cycle of suffering was to prevent Eldians from ever being born again. Twisted? Absolutely. But in his mind, it was compassion. That's the terrifying genius of AOT. It blurs the line so perfectly between villain and hero. You start questioning what you would do. Ever notice how Eren's eyes change depending on his emotional state? It's subtle, but powerful. Early on, his eyes are wide, full of youthful rage and passion. But post-time skip Eren, his eyes are cold, narrowed, almost hollow. This visual shift mirrors his internal transformation. He doesn't scream anymore. He whispers. Because Eren didn't just grow up, he evolved into something far more dangerous. A man who understands pain deeply enough to use it as fuel. The Path's dimension isn't just some mystical realm. It's the heart of the Titan curse. All Titans are connected through this invisible web outside of time and space. And every scream, every transformation, echoes through the Paths. Ymir Fritz, the first Titan, is trapped there, forced to serve for eternity. But here's the shocking part. This space symbolizes generational trauma. Pain passed down. Children forced to carry the sins of their ancestors. It's more than lore. It's psychological horror masked as myth. Armin's hidden strength isn't just his intelligence. It's his resolve to kill. Fans often see him as soft, but the moment he chose to sacrifice himself to stop Bertholdt, and later when he suggested killing Eren, we realized something chilling. Armin is capable of doing what others can't. Because he understands that intellect means nothing without the will to act. Behind that kind face is a mind that knows exactly when to pull the trigger, and that makes him one of the most dangerous characters alive. Eren's story doesn't begin with action. It begins with a dream, a memory, a haunting glimpse of the end. In Chapter 1 of the manga, as he sleeps under a tree, Mikasa appears in his dream and says, "See you later, Eren." At first, it seems random, just a strange moment. But as the story unfolds, we realize it's so much deeper. When Eren later touches Historia's hand, he sees the future, his downfall, the tragedy, the goodbye. That dream wasn't just a dream. It was the future bleeding into the past. Isayama confirmed Eren's memories were looping through time, which means, from the very beginning, he already knew how it would end. Jean Kirstein started out as the most human character. Flawed, selfish, and scared. But his arc is one of the most underrated transformations in the series. Jean becomes a true leader, not because he wanted glory, but because he realized someone had to stand up when no one else would. He was Isayama's answer to what happens when an ordinary person refuses to break. He didn't need powers. He didn't need destiny. He just needed conviction. And that made him stronger than any Titan. There's a moment in Attack on Titan that haunts even after the credits roll. When Eren smiles after Sasha's death, it wasn't joy. It wasn't mockery. It was cracked despair. In that split-second grin, you see a man who's lost so much that his emotions collapse on themselves. Eren knew what was coming. He'd seen it all. Sasha's death was just one checkpoint on a path he already walked 1,000 times in his mind. That smile? It was the last laugh of someone who could no longer cry. Ymir's story is the most tragic and misunderstood in the entire series. She was a slave, chosen to bear the power of the Titans against her will. And when she died, she didn't even find peace. She was forced to obey, endlessly building Titans in the Paths realm. What's worse, she chose to continue serving King Fritz, even after death, because she still longed for his love. Isayama didn't create a fairy tale. He created a prison of love, trauma, and blind devotion. One that took thousands of years, and one girl's final decision to break. The Beast Titan's eerie resemblance to a gorilla wasn't chosen at random. It was based on evolutionary fear, our primal fear of something almost human, but not quite. Zeke's calm, intellectual tone clashes violently with the savage power he wields. And when he starts throwing boulders like nukes, that fear reaches peak terror. The Beast Titan embodies unnatural evolution, something smarter than a man, stronger than a beast, and crueler than both.